Welcome to High Oracle's Reiki Spiritual Healing Channel. And I have been getting some people who want me to elaborate on why I don't like to talk about the news and things that's going on. There are certain things that I will talk about. But, for the most part, when I was at Atlanta Metropolitan College, I took political science. And, at that point, I liked it because it was something new and interesting. But when you get into seeing that a lot of the people, a lot of the black people that are chosen, they are NPCs, they are narcissists, they are, they display, a wanting to be close to their masters, the colonizers. And so, they're here to keep you under control. Then, I want to steer away from certain types of images, certain types of people, because it is the understanding. It is the understanding that these people are not chosen ones. These people are entertainers who have given their life to be a part of the colonizers and the enslavers. So, we're going to go in deep on this one because, I got my sunroof open. It's nice today. And I wanted to give you this thought and this idea that, there's certain entertainers, and politics is one of those entertainer fields where you will have black people rise to power by harming their own people. So I don't like to enter into that realm because I can show you better than I can tell you that if they have been in politics 30, 40 years, they haven't asked for reparations. They're not allowed to help their own people. They will unleash and back racist policies, racist or baseless medical advice from these people. Then in my mind, then I have to make sure that you understand that I'm not going to give my backing. I'm not going to give my energy and talk about these people. Rather, I would rather talk about those people who are trying to pretend to infiltrate that they are a part of, the woke movement, the divine chosen seeds. They are a part of the oracles. They are a part of the high priestess. They are a part of, the magicians, who are the chosen ones, who are a part of the chosen ones, who are the priests, who are the empaths, the empathetic, ones among us. There are people who are trying to pretend that they are chosen ones when their behavior actually is an identifier or red flag. So those are the types of people that I would readily available point out to you, women and men, that are narcissists and trying to pretend that they are, a part of us, where they're trying to infiltrate, where they have taken cues and they've sold their souls to, how shall I say? They've sold their souls in order to engage in trickery, pretend that they are a part of us, and they are absolutely a part of the entity, and their agenda is the identifier. And so I'm going to give you some examples now because, I would be so obliged. I'm 10 steps into the future on my timeline. So therefore, I can take a minute to, look back and smell the roses. So we have these people, these figures that are in society that wants to remain to be a part of, the political agenda, to push this political agenda, something that has not done anything for our ancestors, our people, for, hundreds of years. Fighting for something, to be a part of something, just to have them push laws and agendas that will harm our people, incarcerate our people, that will steadily put our people in a decline. By backing the people that have been in political power, that are pushing these agendas on these platforms, they want to be in proximity. They want to stay, with the society that these entities have built. And there is they get the favor of the entity by pushing these types of agendas, especially a lot of the males that want to remain in power by putting the females and their children in a state of lack. They're no longer leaving the households to do this. They've joined up with the entity. Some of these narcissist black men, they've joined up with the entity, and they're pushing that agenda because they are being rewarded so that they can look like they have power, money, that they can look good at the expense of their children becoming homeless, their children becoming homosexuals, their children, being miseducated, and to enslave the black females, the mothers of this society, by keeping them in a perpetual state of trying to put out fires, have somewhere to live, working 2 or 3 jobs, providing for the household, without, any accountability, from these men who are pushing these agendas, or having the understanding that it was never meant for us to be a part of this agenda. And so they are gaining power from their masters, their colonizers, by pushing these agendas, knowing that they will stay stuck, like their ancestors, like their fathers. So we don't want those men who want to be a part of this system, who want to push that, if we are not getting reparations, if our persons are not talking about reparations that's inside of the government that we've elected, we don't want, to be a part of their system. We want to build our own system. We want to be separated from that. And, those men who are a part of that system, those are the ones that the system can have, because they cannot be changed. They want to look good. They want the power, at the expense of their own people. So I do not talk about, the political events. I do not talk about certain people on my platform, because I can see that they certainly want to be a part of their master, their enslaver, the colonizer. They want to be those men who exude dominance, over their women, over people that may have a different perspective than they do. Okay, so there is no talking to those types of persons. And again, I give this to you again. These are the types of men that want to, that want to go to the polls, that's willing to, get beat by the colonizers, that's willing to, show that they are standing up for our people when it is deplorable. It is just a ploy in order to get you, to come and be in alignment with something that does not want us. Okay, so, we are able to build our own. We're able to, have our own. We are asking for the reparations, so that we can have our own, so that we can separate from those. And any of those men who do not want you to talk about, the political agenda that has been against the black people, black and brown people, the poor, the elderly, the education system. 1010, as I'm saying this, any of these black men who are talking about this, any of these black women who are talking about this, then they are pushing the agenda of the colonizer. They are pushing the agenda of the enslavers. And we should, absolutely give those people who want to be a part of that agenda to those people that, say that we didn't fight for, all these years and all of those types of things. We have to give those types of people who want to be a part of that system, because we can build a better system. We have built a better system before, and we can do it again. The men and women who are going to put blood, sweat, and tears into our people, who do not mind taking a loss, in the political arena, who do not mind taking a loss in society, because we're going to the courtroom. We're asking for the reparations in the courtroom. If they're not asking for that in the political arena, the failure and the breakdown, is detrimental. It has been detrimental for our people, to keep sending people to a place in the upper echelons to rub elbows with these people, and not to get anything out of it for 100 years or more. Okay, and I would even go as far as going back to England, not to get anything from these people for our votes, not to get anything from these people as far as the reparation, not to get anything from these people as far as, the liberty and justice for all, 1211, as I'm saying this, because we understand that it is only designed for, the elites, the ones that they have chosen. And if they have chosen certain ones among us, then that does not, include the rest of us who are, talking about the housing rights, the housing laws, how you cannot go to work every day and live in deplorable housing, how you cannot, how I seen a kid on YouTube the other day. I think it was either Facebook or YouTube. She went to school, and the lunch lady denied her food because, she hadn't paid her account. Her parents were unable to pay her account. In this economy, this is what we are facing, where our kids are going to be isolated. They're not going to be eating at school, but yet and still, you need to go to school and work hard so you might become something one day. And we need to make sure that we're looking at these people in our life that is pushing these types of beliefs. They're just as worse as those church people who, know that we are struggling in this economy. A lot of us have lost our jobs, but they still want, tithes. I seen one man talking about a pastor that wanted the lady to sell her house in order to give him the money. We're talking about covert narcissists in this society that has been pitted against our people, especially the women, those men that haven't, been there in the home, in the community, that have pitted themselves against the women so that they could live up to the standards and look good to this colonizing society. And this is what we are looking at here. This is what we are facing as we separate ourselves from those types of people and give the entity, what he wants. They can have those men and women who want that system, because we have an understanding under our God rule, the Godhead. We have an understanding that we can build a bigger and better system. Give us our reparations so that we can separate from these people. We can, purchase our land. We can, build our school system. We can teach our own people, and we can start over fresh, away from the rhetoric that they have fed the rest of the world and some of our people. And I hope you receive this message. So please like, share, and subscribe to me over all of my platforms. You can book your one-on-one life coaching sessions or your video chat sessions so that we can have a discussion about some of these laws and some of the people who are pushing these laws and agendas in our community. Please donate to my channel, or you can also make sure that you book your consultations so that we can have a conversation over a live video chat or a telephone chat. Thank you so much for all of you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm High Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum.